Hacienda todos los años la misma locura y no sé cómo arreglar los papeles.
Igual que nosotros, ¿eh?
Tranquilo, que en esta semana tienes el divorcio.
Que ha cambiado la ley y ahora lo de la herencia es un verdadero calvario.
Perdone, señora, se le ha caído su tarjeta.
Muchas gracias, cariño.
Tú pones los problemas, nosotros la solución.
Hello and welcome to Havis in English. And on this beautiful sunny day I'm joined by Tracy from Espíritu del Viento, or Spirit of the Wind, and she's going to tell us today, amongst many other things, about some very, very special horses. So welcome, Tracy, and tell me, these special horses and what do you do? It all sounds very fascinating.
Thank you, Jill. First of all, thank you for having me here. Well, the horses we have are horses from the north of America originally. We brought our stallion and 3 breeding mares over. They are Foundation Appaloosa horses, which were first introduced and bred by the Nez Perce Indians of North America. A breed that was almost extinct about 1963, which turns out the year I was born. And when I learnt about them when I was 8-9 years old, it was a breed that I said one day I will fulfill this dream. It took a few years, a few decades to have this breed of horse. I since learnt a lot more about them. They are a phenomenal breed of horse. They are the original all-round breed, the original full family horse. You can virtually compete in any discipline with them. We bought them principally to help improve the numbers of this breed, but also to participate in the discipline that we enjoy, which is endurance. This is a discipline which not many people realise, another way of enjoying your horse, where you ride out, I'm losing my words today, ride out across the countryside, competing a minimum of 20 kilometres up to 160 kilometres in one day, and obviously these are done at speed, but it's a discipline where there's strict veterinary controls before, during and after the event, and at the lower levels there's also strict times of minimum time and maximum time to be sure that the horse is the first thing that's thought of. And in actual fact, the motto of this in discipline is to finish is to win. If you come across the finishing line with a healthy horse that's good to continue, you have done a brilliant job. It is a lot of sacrifice to have a horse prepared for this type of competition, and hence why you build a great rapport with your horse, and you need to know a lot about the care of your horse. And this is where my actual work comes in. I actually have all my horses barefoot. They have no shoes nailed to their feet. I'm an equine podologist. I resolve pathologies of the horse's feet and return horses that have been shod for many years, who have contracted damaged feet, to natural hoof health, so much so that they are perfectly capable of trekking out over this Spain of the terrain of southern Spain, which is mountains and rocks and gravel, all manner of terrain, perfectly sound, perfectly able on a daily basis.
That's absolutely fascinating. I really wasn't aware of the distances of the endurance discipline for these horses. Are all the horses that compete in this discipline the same breed, or are there various breeds? Do they have to be very special horses to be able to endure that discipline, or is it a question of training and so on and so forth?
Any breed of horse, apart from the large heavy breeds, is perfectly capable of enjoying this sport if they're correctly fed and correctly trained. But as you get to the higher levels on the international status of this horse, it tends to be mostly Arabs and Anglo-Arabs, which are crossbred thoroughbreds and Arab horses. They're the ones that tend to excel in this sport at the faster speeds and the longer distances. But it is a sport that you can take any horse or pony, good-sized pony, properly fed, properly trained, and enjoy. It's very much a family sport because you do require a team to help you. When you start going into the longer distances, you have what's called crew stops. At certain intervals along the course, if after you've completed, say, 10 kilometres, for example, your crew can come and help you to cool down the horse, give the horse a drink, give the rider a drink if necessary, which is more often than not in the Spanish sunshine. And it is very much a family affair. You know, it can be a group of friends or literally your family. Dad can be participating and mum and kids help, or mum's participating and everybody helps. It is a brilliant sport that the whole family can enjoy.
That sounds really, really fascinating, and I was quite surprised to hear you say that none of the horses are shod, that no horseshoes. And I suppose when you grow up and like you ride ponies, or some people have a pony, you always assume they have horseshoes on. So why don't they?
Well, it's ours, and there's quite a few others that aren't shod. In America, there's far more horses, and England and Germany as well, that are unshod. It's more a case of why do they? We domesticated the horse about 6,000 years ago, and we've only actually been shoeing the horse for the last 2,000 years. So barefoot is actually the tradition. Shoeing is the new fad. The reason it came about was because of convenience, because we took horses out of their natural environment, we changed their natural food for pre-prepared bags of food. We wanted them to live in stables so they weren't moving the distance that they're accustomed to move to maintain healthy feet. And so human needed an alternative and a way to basically keep their feet together, to keep them working and keep them functioning for as long as possible. And this is where shoeing came about. I mean, it's a little bit more in depth than that, but that's the nutshell version. Our horses don't have shoes on because, first of all, they live out in paddocks, in herds. We try to keep them as natural as possible, so they have their herd environment, the protection of their herd, the hierarchy of their herd, so that first of all, fundamentally, they know how to behave as horses, which sadly many horses in this day and age don't. They're deprived of that. Then their paddocks are large, they're varying terrain. We are in Andalusia, our paddocks are hilly, they're not rolling pastures of flat land. Our paddocks are hilly, but this is of great benefit to the horses. We feed them on a diet that is as near to a wild natural diet as we possibly can, keeping the starch and sugar levels low in their feed. Horses are not designed to digest this type of food. And because of the sport we do, they are given a high energy feed to make sure with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, hay being available to them. This is what gives them their fibre. And then we add certain other ingredients to give them the energy that they need to be able to participate in this sport.
It's absolutely fascinating, and it's so lovely to hear that you're trying to keep horses in a natural state, because I think I certainly forget that they are wild animals originally, and that they did live out amongst all sorts of terrains and weathers, and they didn't have shoes on originally. So it's lovely to hear how you're bringing them back to their natural state. Now, the endurance that is going to happen, is that a once a year event? Is it a busy event? When's that going to be happening?
Well, we participate in endurance competitions all year round, but the end of February, on the 25th to be precise, we are holding the Championship of Andalusia of Young Riders and Absolute at our installations in Casares. Now, this is the first time that this has ever been celebrated in the province of Malaga, so it's been quite a goal or an achievement, on our part to be able to have been chosen to be able to hold it. And this day there will be events 20, 40, 60, 80 and 120 kilometres. There will be control time events for the lower distances, but the 80 and 120, which are called 1-star and 2-star comps, they are free speed. So the horses go as fast as they can, as long as they can comply with all the veterinary requirements and they have a horse that's good to continue once they finish. This is over circuits in the countryside between Casares and Manilva. The two town halls have collaborated for us to be able to bring this event. You need a lot of collaboration, we need sponsors. These events don't happen without the help of some great people behind us. And there's various phases. It's not 120 kilometres all in one go. It's broken down into 4 phases. At the end of each phase, the horses go through yet another veterinary control to make sure they're not lame, to make sure they have no metabolic situations, no problems going on, and so they are fit to continue on to the next phase and eventually the finishing line and hopefully the championship. We also have 2 international events on that weekend, so riders could be coming from anywhere in the world. And then on the Sunday, just a little aside, we're actually going to hold our very first ever, because it's not a sport that we actually take part in, but we're going to hold a Doma Vaquera, which is the Spanish equivalent of reining. if you like. It's a mix between dressage and reining, and we're actually going to hold a competition on the beach, so that will be great for spectators to come and watch that. But endurance is our thing, and spending hours on horseback in the countryside, enjoying the magnificent countryside that we have around here, and obviously the varying times of the year, the flora and fauna constantly changing. It's something we never tire of.
Absolutely fascinating. So what age groups do you get there? You've said it can be a family thing. Do you have riders from a very young age to a very old age?
In the federated events, you can start riding from 10 years of age up to as long as you can get in the saddle. But obviously you're limited to your age. I think it's above 16 before you can start competing in 80 kilometres or over. I may be wrong there because it's been a long time since I was 16. But 10 years of age is when children can officially start to compete. But you will find them at 6, 7 and 8 years of age already preparing themselves for this discipline.
Sounds absolutely fascinating and very interesting to know that the Espirito del Viento Endurance is coming up soon at the end of February. So Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so educational for me to learn about these horses. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jill.